It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt or dies. Margaret of England was the second child and first daughter of Henry III and Eleanor of Provence. Despite their abundance of love for her, it wouldn't deter them from marrying her off at age 11 to the 10-year-old King of Scotland, Alexander III. It was after 6 years of marriage that Margaret received a visit from her elder brother, Lord Edward, who presented her with a gift, an esquire, whose name is lost to history. This esquire, if stories are true, would go on to be involved in a macabre act against the Earl of Leicester. Simon de Montfort, 6th Earl of Leicester, was Margaret's uncle by marriage and had been opposition against her father, eventually seizing power. But de Montfort himself found opposition in the form of Lord Edward. As time passed, some of those loyal to de Montfort turned against him, and soon his undoing begun, and would end with the Battle of Evesham. Knowing his son was dead, and now captured by Lord Edward's death squad, de Montfort declared, "Then it is time to die." His final words, though, are said to have been, "Thank God," before a lance penetrated his neck. But to simply kill him was not enough for the royalists. De Montfort was mutilated. As told to the Mayor of London, the head of the Earl of Leicester was severed from his body, his testicles cut off and hung either side of his nose. And then for further insult, his hands and feet were cut off, and 4 of his enemies received one as trophy gifts. It is said that Margaret's esquire was involved in this horrendous butchering, and perhaps this was the secret motive of what happened next, if it was not an accident at all. It was the summer of 1273, and Margaret was recovering from childbirth at Kinclaven Castle. Free from her lying in and purification done, Margaret walked the grand gardens with her maidens and esquires. They were walking along the River Tay when the English esquire bent down to the river to wash his hands of clay. And as he did so, Margaret told her maidens to push him in. They laughed at the idea, and it is uncertain whether 1 or 2 carried out the orders, or if Margaret took the jest upon herself. Either way, a force hit the esquire in the back. He lost his balance and tumbled into the river. And they had laughed, thinking it so funny to watch him struggle, and expecting that any minute he would clamber back up onto the grass. But the esquire's servant boy realised his master's danger as the heavy current took hold and dragged him away from the river edge. The loyal boy jumped in after his master, eager to be the hero despite his age, only to find he too was not invulnerable to the river's strength. To the horror of Queen Margaret and those who else bared witness, the esquire and the boy went under. When they were found and freed of the water, they no longer breathed. Whether Margaret did truly hold a vendetta against the esquire, and if the esquire was truly involved in the mutilation at all, cannot be known for sure. But it is said that Margaret was greatly upset by the deaths caused by her sense of humour. If you enjoyed this story, I invite you to check out my next episode of Her Stories, for it is the life of Margaret of England. So I'll see you next time, in another time, in history.